visionary, revolutionary. I'm a visionary, revolutionary.
What's going on, WBV TV family? It's your boy KB the Mark, and I'm here with my stupendous, marvelous co-host Camille Salamander, and our returning special guest, Miss Quinn, two of the best people to talk wrestling with. Camille Salamander, Miss Quinn, before we get into the plugs and all of that good stuff, how you both doing?
I'm doing fine. I'm doing marvelous. Just another day, a lovely day to talk about wrestling.
Miss Quinn?
Yeah, same.
You all right? You all right? You are A-okay.
Yeah, I'm losing my voice, y'all. Sorry.
Listen, while she gets her voice together.
You can tell we had a lot of screaming during Revolution.
Yes, a lot of screaming during Revolution. But while Miss Quinn gets her voice together, I do want to let you guys know that we are shooting right now the second episode of the WrestleRamble. We're going to be shooting episode 3 the Saturday after Mania. So that's going to be, you're going to get both nights of, well, the next time we shoot, you all are going to get the build to Mania, our thoughts on the builds to Mania, actual Mania cards themselves, the Raw after Mania, and then the Friday after Mania as well. But go to our community tab. We have posted a questionnaire for you guys. We want you guys to give us questions that we can talk about during WrestleRamble episode 3 while we also talk about WrestleMania. So please don't forget to go to our community tabs, like the post, and also give us a couple of questions that you guys want us to answer. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, push that notification bell to stay up to date so you won't miss anything. And today is going to be kind of a different type of WrestleRamble. You know, a lot of times when me and Camille Salamander and even Miss Quinn, since she's been on the first WrestleRamble, but if you've always been with me and Camille Salamander, we tend to often interrupt each other, talk over each other when we're discussing wrestling, which, it's all fine to us because that just shows how passionate we are about the business. And each one of us has things that we don't like and things that we like about both companies. So what we're going to do today is each one of us, Camille Salamander, myself, Miss Quinn, we're going to get 5 uninterrupted minutes, and I'm going to have Camille Salamander put a timer up so you guys can see the timer. But here, as you can see, I do have the timer set on the TV so you can see exactly how much time you have left. And it's going to be 5 uninterrupted minutes. You get to talk about the pros, the cons, what you like, what you don't like, and what you want to see going forward for each of the shows, AEW, NXT, WWE. And then we're going to wrap it up with NXT. And I'll handle NXT myself because just, not a lot of people like NXT. And that's not something that I can complain about because NXT has truly become a show. It's not the black and gold. So you either like it or you don't like it. And if you don't like it, that's fine. Wrestling is so subjective that it has a little bit of something for everybody. So jumping straight in, Camille Salamander, don't forget to put the 5 minutes up so they can see it on the screen. I have my 5 minutes now. We are going to start off with Monday Night Raw. I'm going to start off myself first. I have the 5 minutes are up. So when it comes to Monday Night Raw, I have a lot of pros and cons. A lot of pros and cons. Mostly pros. First off, I want to give Triple H a hand clap. I want to give Triple H a hand clap because when Vince McMahon was booking Monday Night Raw, by 9:15, 9:30 is when most people checked out. Typically 9:15, 9:30 is when most people checked out because they couldn't get with the booking. They couldn't get with Monday Night Raw in 3 hours having 10 to 12 matches and those matches going 5 minutes. Triple H has came in and has truly changed the dynamic of Monday Night Raw to where the entire 3 hours, it doesn't drag. And he's often kept some of the things that he's often kept some of the things that Vince McMahon does. A lot of times when we were seeing this thing get booked by Vince McMahon, it was the top of the hour 15-minute promo to start Monday Night Raw. Then you go into a match. And then it would just, the show never seemed to flow. Now with Triple H, we're getting a mixture. There have been times where Triple H has started off a Monday Night Raw, and we've seen a tremendous match. We've seen a promo to start off the show, but even said promo wasn't like the Vince McMahon era promo. It led to something, and it often led to something huge. Triple H has done an amazing things, and I'm going to talk about this point on SmackDown, but speaking on the Raw mid-card title, it's amazing what he's done with Austin Theory. How with Vince McMahon, he was the second coming. You know, it was, to me, it kind of like was Drew 2.0. You know, he was handpicked by Vince McMahon, and Vince was shoving him down your throat, which isn't bad as a heel. But he felt kind of childish with the cell phone and taking pictures and everything like that. But Triple H made him grow up, put him in a couple programs with Seth Rollins, and now Austin Theory looks like a new man. It looks like that Vince McMahon's smut has been taken off of him. Because I go back to when Triple H first took power, and Roman Reigns said, "Your daddy's not here now." And then I go back to John Cena eviscerating him on Monday Night Raw. But it wasn't bad. Like when John Cena eviscerated Roman Reigns, it was bad. The first time around. What was that? That was like 2017. So that time was bad. But I didn't look at, Austin Theory got destroyed, but I didn't think it was a bad thing. It was just, that's what needs to happen when you're in a program with John Cena to truly get you over. So I move on to the Street Profits and the Hurt Business and Bobby Lashley. Though I don't like what they've been doing with Bobby Lashley on Monday Night Raw, especially when it comes to especially when it comes to Uncle Howdy and Bray Wyatt, it's kind of goofy. But I am okay with that. I'm okay with that because as long as Bobby is getting something to do. Now I can tell you what I don't like when it comes to the Hurt Business. Brock Lesnar and Omos. That's not something I'm looking forward to. Honestly, I'm not liking the build. I'm also not liking the build of Bray and Bobby. But I think we're going to get a better match out of those two than we're going to get out of Brock Lesnar and Omos. I want to touch on the Street Profits. Montez Ford is a star. And I don't think they need to be broken up yet. But you know the direction in which it's going. They throw little hints out there. And one of the biggest points to me was the Elimination Chamber. The performance that Montez Ford had in the Elimination Chamber. You know that's going to be a huge thing. But I don't think we need to break up the Street Profits. Maybe we just turn them heel. And you get another 2 or 3 years. Because I think Montez Ford is ready. I think he's ready for a singles push now. But what do you do with Angelo Dawkins? That's the question. What do you do with Angelo Dawkins? Edge and Finn. Don't want to see it. I'm sorry. I've seen it once. I've seen it twice. I agree with Camille Salamander when he said the I Quit match should have ended it. Then if you didn't want to end it there, the mixed tag match should have ended it. I don't know what they're going to do with the Judgment Day. They were recently on SmackDown together as a group, but I don't know what you're going to do with them going forward. And like we've all agreed on here, the worst thing you can do is break up Judgment Day. And that has been my 5 minutes. Camille Salamander, you ready?
Hell yeah.
5 minutes, go.
Man, so when it comes to Raw, first thing first, yes, I agree with you 100%. Since Papa H took over, Raw has been tremendously good. But there's still something they need to do within that second hour. Because the first hour is interesting. The third hour, because you know it's about to go off, is interesting. But that in-between hour, I honestly think Raw probably will benefit if they go back to 9 to 11 and stuff. But, I mean, I hate how every show opens up with a promo. Cause it's like the same shit I just wish that we get to the fucking action. But then at this point of the season in WWE, I get why the shows do open up with a promo, because it's the road to WrestleMania, so you need lock down some of these storylines and stuff too. But I mean, just overall, I honestly think there's certain things that need to be done first. First thing first, they need to really they need to let us know if it's a fucking brand split. They need to let us know if it's a brand split or not, because I'm getting tired of seeing Kevin Owens pop up on Raw and SmackDown. Getting tired of seeing the Usos. Well, I get the Usos. The only people that should be able to go back and forth to each show should be the Usos and Roman, because they hold both titles. It makes sense. But I shouldn't be watching SmackDown and I get Cody Rhodes popping up there, but I shouldn't see somebody like the Street Profits pop up on SmackDown. I shouldn't see that. If the Usos, they should be the only ones traveling back and forth, and they should be challenging teams that's on Raw. Go to SmackDown, challenge teams on SmackDown. It shouldn't be vice versa. Like, I hate that part. It's like all year they believe in a brand split until they get to this point of the year, then it's like they forget about it. I mean, just certain storylines like the Edge and Finn Balor. I mean, I said so many things about that already. I don't want to see that no more. I kind of think it's dull and over with at this point. I hate one thing I think WWE needs to do that would help them. Like, I don't like how they announced that Ray getting inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame this year. Cause now it's kind of you can tell where the story's gonna go now. Like, at first it's the story of we don't know how it's gonna be with him and his son, but now we kind of know, like, basically that's a WrestleMania match and he's gonna lose since he's already gonna be an inductee. So I kind of feel like it kind of defeats the purpose of certain, and I keep cussing. But I mean, overall, Raw, it's cool. It's just that second hour that be bored though. I just wish that cause you got 3 hours to work with, so it shouldn't, like, overall, you could put on more matches than SmackDown. Because SmackDown run off of 2, and then you still got to tell the stories in between with the promos and everything. So you only get like a good 4 matches on SmackDown. Raw, it's 3 hours, so you got a lot of stuff to work with. There should be no reason why we getting 1 or 2 women matches. There should be no reason why we're not even seeing the women tag division in action at all. It shouldn't be no reason. I honestly feel like, since basically you got your storyline, I think that what they need to do to switch it up, and this will go for Raw and SmackDown, I think where you get to this point where you already got your story set for WrestleMania and most of your cards for WrestleMania is already done except for a few matches, you can start building towards the next month, start building towards the next premium live event. And so that way you ain't keep telling the same story over and over. It's like, all right, so now we're getting new stories within these old stories that we tell us. So once these old stories end at Mania, it's not like, all right, like it's a continuation. I think that would help them the most. But I mean, that's pretty much what I got. I didn't use my full 5, but I mean, that's the mainly thing. Just that second hour. It's just they just need to do something about that. But overall, I mean, I really don't have no complaints about that. Just they need to utilize their women's division more. Tag division need to be utilized more in women's tag division. And that second hour, like that whole second hour, you can use that for the stuff that you don't do. The people that you don't use, put them in the second hour. I kind of wish they would have really did the stuff that Mick Foley said. That third hour is going to be like that uncut version of Raw. I wish they would have really lived up to that. But that only lasts for like 2 weeks. That's another problem. They need to stop doing that too. Stop introducing stuff and just cutting it off within a few weeks.
All right. Miss Quinn, you ready for your 5?
Let's get it started, y'all. Okay, WWE, Raw. Raw can be so conflicting sometimes because, as you both have already stated, since Papa H has taken over, the first hour and the third hour give us something to look forward to. But at this point, I still do believe people are checking out at that between 9 and 10 o'clock hour, because we're not getting no action. We're getting the blah stuff, as you want to call it. So, Finn Balor, Edge, I don't want to see it. I'm tired of seeing it. It's just like the never ending story. Brock and Omos. I don't want to see that neither. It doesn't make any sense to me. Bobby Lashley and The Fiend. I mean, not The Fiend, Bray Wyatt. I'm so used to calling him The Fiend, but Bray Wyatt, Bobby Lashley. People don't come out of Bray Wyatt matches the same, and I think that's going to be bad for Bobby. It's going to put us in a predicament to question who is Bobby Lashley now. I agree with Salamander on WWE announcing the first inductee into the Hall of Fame was going to be Rey Mysterio. That defeats the purpose of the storyline, because we know at WrestleMania he will lose against Dom, or if it turns into that triple threat match between Dom, Santos Escobar, and Rey, he's still going to lose. The women's division on Raw is trash.
Capitals.
I mean, you got Bianca Belair, reigning champion. I think it's time for her to go heel. She needs a new storyline. And what else do we got on Raw going on right now? I mean, we got Cody and Roman Reigns, but that's not nothing new. I mean, the road to WrestleMania is like Christmas for WWE fans or wrestling fans, period. So it's like we keep getting the rundown stories every week until WrestleMania. Then that's when we'll get something new afterwards. But guys, y'all have cleared up everything on Raw already. That's just my opinion. That 9 to 10 hour, there's a lot of adjustments that they can do with that. I do like the John Cena promo. I think that was awesome. He gave Austin Theory the business with his words, as he always does, shall you say. It gives us something to look forward to in that match. But I agree with everything John Cena said to Theory. It gave him that push to where you got to believe in yourself to beat me. You got to have it to beat me. So we'll find out at WrestleMania. I didn't use all of my 5 minutes neither, but guys, that's all I got to say.
Can I add something? Because I honestly forgot about the whole John Cena thing. I ain't even gonna lie to you. But I'm a huge John Cena mark. But it's like, honestly, do we really need John Cena to come back and poop on whoever they facing? Like, I get that his name brings in viewers, but you're trying to build hype to the match. But do you necessarily have to poop on the competition? When he came back with Roman, it was, you can't cut a promo. Point out his flaws that we as fans know about, but it's like, we don't, like, especially of the reputation that we heard about you, with you and Alex Riley, so forth and so forth. So it's like you doing it, now that we heard about it, it's like you was doing it backstage, like you're doing it in front of us and stuff. So it's like, do you necessarily need to do that? Because I don't think that's getting, to me, I didn't look at Austin Theory as getting over, even if you do win the match. Like, even when that match, that stuff happened with him and Roman. The first one that happened at No Mercy, I think it was, and then the second one when they fought at SummerSlam, where he was already the tribal chief and stuff. I think that don't necessarily get the person over. You win the match, but still, I mean, everything that they say, yeah, us fans know it, but it's like, when John Cena pointed out, it's like, damn, I don't think it's a rub at all.
What did you want to add, Miss Quinn, before I say what I say?
Just a quick thought, because Salamander had said taking Raw back to 2 hours. I think that would be great, but if we could get back to PG-14 rating for Monday Night Raw, and if you honestly think about it, when we had the Attitude Era, the Ruthless Aggression Era, from beginning to end, Monday Night Raw was lit. If we can get something back, something similar to that back, I think Raw would be good beginning to end for those 3 hours.
Raw would never be
what it used to be.
PG TV 14, because we have to remember during the time when they was during the Attitude Ruthless Aggression era, that company was private.
That's
Once
true.
they went public, they got all these other hands in there. They listen to them. They will never be back to TV 14 because of that reason. Which is the reason why AEW can do what they do on TV, because they private.
Speaking of AEW, and I'm going to make this quick point about John Cena. I do see what you're saying about John Cena and the promos he cut, but I think what got it over this time was what he said to Austin Theory. You're damned if you win, damned if you lose. Because if you lose, the Raw after Mania crowd is going to let you have it.
They're going to let them have it.
And then if you win, they're going to let you have it because you killed their golden child. So it made sense for Cena. You're damned if you win, damned if you lose. So you might as well go in there with the thought process of trying to win. It's kind of like, and I'm going to move on after this. It's kind of loosely comparable to the Roman and Undertaker main event and the night after Mania. Because even if Roman had lost, the match was so bad, he would have heard it regardless. But it's better off to give him the win so the Raw after Mania crowd can just eviscerate him anyway.
I think something tremendous have to happen for that Theory character. Because you're going to have to turn face, but something tremendous is going to have to happen for us to really get behind him. Because it's going to take for him to turn face for us as the fans to get behind him.
Well, one more thing, real quick. I don't think they could have gotten anybody else to get with Austin Theory except John Cena, only because it's the United States Championship. So all of their people that they've already put against Theory, they don't have nobody else. Just my point.
Moving on to All Elite Wrestling. We're going to do our 5 minutes. Then we're going to switch. Talk about the Revolution card, what we thought about it. We're not going to break it down move by move. Just going to give our initial thoughts on it. But we know that Camille Salamander is the AEW hater of the company. So let's just get the negativity out the room.
All right.
Salamander, you have 5 minutes starting now.
Fucking trash. No, I'm just playing. One thing just by AEW, just my main concern. I really feel like, and when I say this, KB and Mark always be the main one that agree against me, they disagree. Them signing WWE talent, I think that's a huge bad thing, because I really feel like KB always say, what's wrong with them, going over to somewhere where they're more appreciated. The thing is, because when you sign these big stars, you're gonna have to, put them on TV because they're more well known to the people who you started off with. So you're gonna get them more TV time, which is gonna create, a negative morale backstage and stuff too. I mean, I tell KB all the time, where's the AEW originals that be on besides the same 7 people we see? He said Dark. We don't watch Dark. Rampage. We don't watch Rampage. I mean, you say you do, but I'm like, come on. AEW average between 800,000 to 1 million a week. Rampage average NXT numbers. So don't nobody watch that. I mean, the majority of the fan base tune in to Wednesdays, not Friday. And then they got that messed up time slot too. So I think, it's just that. And then, I just hate, it's just certain things. Like, I get what they try to do because they're trying to bring in viewership and stuff like that. But it's like certain ways you have to go about it and stuff like that too. Like I keep saying about Tony Khan. Like, I get tampering and shit stuff like that. But it's like, to me, so everybody tamper. So what? Wrestlers tamper with wrestlers. If I'm in the E and I see you in the dub and I see that you working and I want that to be a dream match and we talking, hey, you should come over here, and I'm like, hey, nah, I like it over here. Maybe you should come over here. It's tampering no matter what way you look at it. But Tony Khan going on Twitter crying about the shit, I ain't trying to hear that, because it's like, and then every other week Tony Khan got a huge announcement. Tune in to Rampage. Most of the time, I'm like, it ain't even huge or nothing like that. I don't know. I just feel like, Like, I mean, it's been a while. I mean, like, you remember what Private Party was a huge thing? I mean, now they just, Matt Hardy's, it's just hanging in the background. People who was there in the original that first year when AEW took off, they really not on TV like that. Except for the 7 that you see, which is the Elite, Hangman, Darby Allin, Sammy Guevara, all, like, some of those. It's like a good, like, I'll say a good 10 of them for other than that. Everybody else you show on your TV is WWE people for real. So it's like, I think that takes away from it and stuff, because it takes away from you. It just looks like WWE 2.0. That's all I'm seeing over there. You got all this talent. Yeah, I get it though. You have to play your role. It's a time for everything though. But it's like you have 121 people. If you just count the main roster of Raw, SmackDown, it's 81. AEW has 121 people, 123 people that you have to rotate. I get that it's your time. TP. Everybody got their time on TV. But if I'm currently in the story, and I was on TV last week, why are you taking me off TV for 2 weeks? Now, and me as a fan, I'm not into that story when you bring it back around and stuff, because it's like you took it off TV, but they keep, they keep the favorite 5, the Fab 5, the Fab 7 on TV on a consistent basis. That's all I'm saying. It's just, it gets confusing after a while, and it's just, I don't know. I mean, as of late, I feel like the car has been ass. I'm sorry. Like the booking and all that stuff. I don't know. Hopefully, this revamp of Ring of Honor and them getting weekly television and stuff. Hopefully, that will make AEW go by more better, because now they got another show to like kind of cut the roster in half. So now it's not more of this person not gonna be on TV for a while, and people can really get some good TV rotation going in place. So I mean, that's just really it. I mean, it's the same thing I've been saying since 2019. But I mean, only time to tell Ring of Honor. I mean, we'll see. I think Ring of Honor would give them a new progress to challenge. So I think it would probably benefit them in a good way. That's what I would say.
All right. So 2 things.
Haters gonna hate, y'all. Haters gonna hate.
Hey, speaking of hater, she look good. Well, we gonna get to that when we get there. 2 things. So for the sake of our podcast, how about we call 2 things. 1, the same complaint you have is the same complaint you have about the superstars jumping from Raw to SmackDown, because that time that they could be using, that they're using Raw superstars on SmackDown, you could be using somebody else. So I'll give you that. Tony Khan definitely needs to do that. And the disappearing from from TV for 2 weeks when you're in the middle of a story, I do agree with that, because he did that. He does that a lot. So I do agree with that.
Especially with my girl, Jade. Like, she on TV every now and then. It's like,
yeah, so I definitely agree with that.
And TBS champion, you should be on TV every week. You the TBS champion.
And for the sake of this podcast, are we gonna do we just want to group them in and call them the Terrific 7?
Might as well.
I mean, because every last one of them is terrific. Those are the 7 you want on TV. Just like they have just like the E has their certain people that they use on TV every week.
The other 115, like, man, what about me?
True. But I would argue, like, yeah, the numbers is cool, like the rosters, but you got to think how many of those people too are you not including that's doing PC stuff. No, I'm just saying, because I'm not disagreeing with you. You're absolutely right. I think that's the thing. Like, I've never disagreed with you on most of the points you make about Tony Khan. Mm-hmm. I just think they're minuscule in the big picture. But I'm gonna go, and then I'll leave this. I'll hand it over to.
I just think he need a booker instead of him trying to do the shit. He need to admit that he need help.
My 5 minutes starts now. So, like I said, I do agree with Camille Salamander, but I want to touch on just a couple different things that he tends to overlook. Number 1, AEW has arguably the greatest collection of wrestlers in any show. You can go down the list, and we could go down that entire roster, and you'd be like, oh, and it would be argued, oh, he's a top 10. Oh, he's a top 5. Oh, he's a top 20. You can just go down that roster of singles guys. You look at the Kenny Omegas, the Malachi Blacks, the Buddy Matthews, the Sammy Guevaras, the Chris Jerichos. You know, there are tons of people who you can argue like they are really good professional wrestlers, so you understand why. I will say this: Tony Khan does need to build up new stars. I do like what he's doing with Action and Andretti, but since the Chris Jericho thing, that's went completely downhill. I also want to touch back on Ricky Starks because Camille Salamander has stuck by this, and I do agree. What do we do with Ricky Starks? He came off I don't even want to give it credit because the match at Revolution was good, but I don't want to give that storyline credit. What do we do with Ricky Starks coming out of a lackluster program with Chris Jericho? It looks like we're going Rock Hard Juice Robinson, and by the way, I can see why he's always rock hard. I mean, do you see who he goes home to? I'd be rock hard too. I'd be rock hard too if I was going home to her. So I do like that, and like I pointed out to you too, because we were at the show at the Nutter Center. You came at the start of Dynamite. Me and Miss Quinn were there for Dark Elevation and everything else, but when Rock Hard came out, he had his own music, but on Wednesday he came out to Bullet Club, and I think that's significant. Because like I told you guys, I think we're getting Jay White, or there's going to be some variation of the Bullet Club. And even if you go down that tag team division, like I understand that, a lot of them are mixed in with trios, but you can look up and down that tag team card as well. I mean, AEW arguably has, if you don't say they're number one, they're absolutely within the top 3 of the greatest tag teams in the world right now. FTR. If you don't think they're one and you want to go with the Usos, that's not an argument I'm going to make, because I can see in certain instances where you would say the Usos are the better tag team than them. But I'm going to sit here and say that FTR is the top tag team in the world. Throw the Young Bucks in there, and even though me and Salamander do agree they are a tad bit overrated, super kick, super kick, super kick, super kick, super kick. You can say the same thing about the Usos, but
Moonsault.
Yeah, Moonsault too. But you can sit there and argue that we do have some of the best wrestlers and some of the best tags in the world as well. Wardlow and Powerhouse Hobbs, wasn't really that much of a fan of it, but I think I'm going to give it a chance before I knock it. Talking about the women's division, I think the women's division is on the up and up. I think it's better than Raw's women's division. I'm not even joking. I think it's way better than Raw's women's division, and the storyline that they have going on in that women's division is really good. And I think we're getting to the point to where Jade is getting, I don't want to say stale, because Jade Cargill can never be stale. She just talks that talk, and I'll listen to a Jade promo anytime. So I think we're getting to the point to where she's ready to get moved up into that main card. So there's that. Bryan Danielson, he cut the promo saying he's going home, and like Salamander said, Ring of Honor is up and running now. And I tuned into the first 2 episodes, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm loving the direction of that Raw women's. I'm loving that direction of that Ring of Honor women's division. Just on Thursday night, Athena and Willow Nightingale had a banger of a Ring of Honor women's title match in the main event. The second episode of the revamped Ring of Honor, and we're running a women's championship match in the main event. Athena and Willow Nightingale, they tore the house down. So I think it's a lot of upside for Tony Khan, but I also agree with Camille Salamander. Maybe he does need a booker. Maybe he just needs to write it, and he has a booker. And from his story, Tony Khan tells the booker the direction he wants to go. The booker decides how we're going to get there. He can write it, and he has somebody else to book it. Maybe he needs a writing team. Maybe because you forget that Tony Khan is part owner of the Jags. He's got a football team across the pond. He does AEW. Yeah, he does AEW. He does Ring of Honor. Not to mention the numerous amounts of media that he has to do. So he's a busy man, and maybe he does just need that additional help. But I think it's a lot of upside for AEW. He's just got to get it together.
I do want to add with the TNT title. I forgot about it, man. That title is starting to become so what's the word I'm looking for?
Irrelevant.
Yeah, it's becoming irrelevant. They're taking away the prestige from that title, because it's been playing hot potato since Scorpio Sky dropped it. And what was the point of not Powerhouse Hop? What was the point of Wardlow defeating Samoa Joe just for him to drop it like a week later? It wasn't no point. I'm thinking Wardlow was gonna go on the run, and then they was gonna set that him and Powerhouse Hobbs up later on, like throughout the year later on, something like that. But no, they didn't. And I kind of, and then the fact that the execution was horrible, him, falling on the judo mat, and then not answering the 10 count. I mean, that's soft as hell and stuff. Like we know how that is. So it's like, I kind of feel like that kind of, we seen Warlow return. We was at the show, and then I mean, I just feel like it just took the doll away for your return. I really feel like it hurt the character. I don't know what to do with that title anymore. I truly believe that.
I'll add this and then I'll hand it over to you, Miss Quinn. I do agree, but like I told you when we were doing our predictions, he never does a face versus face title program. So it made in the way of booking and even the storyline continuity made sense. But this was the one time, and the thing is, in wrestling, this is something that's very minute. It will rarely cause problems when you do long term storytelling. But there are instances like this, and I say it's like 99.8. This is the 0.2% of where continuity in your storylines does not help you. Because if you're trying to make Powerhouse Hobbs a big deal, he should be able to beat Warlow by himself. Or better yet, you can still do what you did, but he powerbombed QT off of that. Then that's how Powerhouse Hobbs picks up his win. Instead of making QT seem like a big deal when you haven't booked QT to be a big deal.
What? So Powerhouse Hobbs is a face?
No, he's a heel.
Okay, 'cause I was gonna say
he's a heel.
I look at him as a heel, but I'm like,
yeah, he's a heel. Miss Quinn, you ready? 5 minutes starts now.
Okay, guys. Whew. So I'm late to All Elite. I didn't start watching it when it first vamped up in 2019, so I was a latecomer. However,
congratulations.
Salamander's a hater, y'all. However, I do have to agree with a lot of what KB has already said. They have a better women's division than WWE. Yes, AEW does have some WWE talent on that roster, but we have to take it back to when Vince McMahon was running that show. The wrestlers that left and went to AEW, they weren't getting their push in WWE. So they left, and now that they're on AEW, they have their characters are so much more McMarvelous than they were in WWE. Look at Ruby Soho. I mean, you just, it's there. The talent is there. They just never got to utilize it in WWE, just like FTR. They are one of the best, if not the best tag team in wrestling now. And if you put FTR up against the Usos, FTR is going to take it. I think that they are better. That's just my opinion. Tony Khan, yes, he does need a booker. Absolutely. I do agree with that. If we could have somebody like Paul Heyman in AEW, I think that show would flourish more. There's just so much. Rampage, when it comes on Friday nights after Smackdown, a lot of people aren't tuning into that because they've already got their 2 hours of Smackdown, and we only get an hour of Rampage. I think if it could be on a different day other than Friday, I think it would be better, and not in that late slot at 10 o'clock. Y'all, I'm kind of ready to get to the Revolution part of this McMarvelous podcast we got now, because Revolution was it was awesome from beginning to end.
Oh, I get it. Okay. Well, a couple things. Before we jump into the Revolution card, I want to touch on what Salamander said real quick, because, and not just what Salamander said, also what you said, Miss Quinn, because, Salamander does make that point of it is too many WWE guys, and to an extent, I do agree with him. But when you look at it, me and you remember Salamander when we did the podcast after Malachi Black had made his debut. and he destroyed Cody within like 5 minutes. And me and you just on here like he looks infinitely better within these 5 minutes that he ever looked in WWE. Come on, Salamander, they hid him in a closet. They hid Aleister Black in a closet. Ruby Riott at the time wasn't doing anything. She was with a floundering group that wasn't really doing anything. And then boom, they left. You can look back on it. There was a couple other guys like, you know, Salamander, have you ever heard the story of how Jericho signed with AEW? Mm-hmm. So Vince McMahon told him to just entertain the offer and take it. So Jericho tells Vince he took the deal with AEW, and Vince McMahon is telling him, "Can you get out of it?" No, you told me to go. You told me to do it. So, you know, it's just Vince, to me at the time, that was just Vince McMahon thinking like, oh, well, I'm Vince. I run the biggest company in the world. You know, and I feel like he's had that kind of thought process with a lot of people who's come in. You can look at a guy like Tony Nese, somebody who I thought would have destroyed the cruiserweight division when Neville was still there running it. Didn't want to do it. You look at Neville outside of his cruiserweight championship run and his run in NXT where he was, you know, messing it up as Neville. He really wasn't doing anything. There are a lot of those guys. Because here's the thing, Solomon, I'm pretty sure you can attest. You don't really see top guys leaving WWE. You don't see top guys leaving WWE. You know why? Because they're getting booked. They're getting used. It's the people, you know, like the Malakais. Like, and you know what I find really funny? I go back to when we first seen Buddy Matthews and Malachi Black. You guys remember that? Remember that? I want to say that was, what was that, Payback? I want to say that was something along the lines of Payback. Or if it wasn't Payback, it was a pay-per-view before the Rumble. And I remember Samoa Joe was still on commentary. And I found it odd that Samoa Joe was like, this match is going to steal the show. And he said that. He literally, before they made their entrances, he said, this match is going to steal the show. And the match stole the show so much they ran it 4 more times. And
that's just the downfall of WWE when Vince McMahon was running it. You're not utilizing the people who have the most talent. Well, I shouldn't say the most talent, but A1 talent. You're keeping them, you know, and booking them in that let's just use that 9 to 10 hour. We're not getting a good story with that talent. So if they're not being used and then their contract is up, of course, I would leave too. I mean, granted, I'm still getting paid to not be in a storyline. However, I'm not getting to do what I love. And that's the one thing about AEW. We get pro wrestling out of AEW and we get all the entertainment out of WWE.
Yeah, you know, that's something that even me and Salamander have discussed, and I think that's why we work so well, because, you know, we have differences. It's not like we both just love the same thing about professional wrestling. He loves storylines, which is fine. But I want to see what you can do in the ring, because ultimately you can have all the storylines in the world, but if you can't go in the ring, then you're just pretty much an actor.
If you can't walk the walk and talk the talk, then
yeah, you might as well just go in the movies.
Basically,
I feel like AEW is way better when they had Cody, Chris Jericho, Mox, Pat, Sean Spears, FTR, just a handful. And those people who are named was already released from WWE for a few years. Like, if not a year, it was already like damn near a year before AEW took off when they even came. So that's why I'm like, when they was like there, when they had a handful, I mean, now what, you got Miro, you got Swerve, you got Keith Lee, you got Ruby Soho, you got Saraya, you got so many, you know, WWE people there now. It's like, damn. But even then, you know, look at the women's division. Who's they currently pushing? If it ain't Britt Baker or her group, they gonna push the WWE star. You know, I think they tried it with Athena. They seen that, you know, she wasn't working like that, so they, you know, put her back. And then who they put back? They put back Britt Baker. It all circles around that. Like, Britt Baker is gonna be AEW Charlotte Flair.
I mean, I don't have a problem with that.
I mean, I don't either though.
I see what you mean.
Like, they really don't have nobody to build that around. So you're gonna build it around Britt Baker. So you have to keep her in the picture. Like she ain't got the time now. So you keep you put on Jamie Hayter. Who's that? That's her group. So you keep it around her just to keep her in the picture because we seen how much they struggled when Britt Baker first dropped that title, and she wasn't around that picture at all. We seen how much that women's division struggled. You have to keep her in that picture.
Yeah, absolutely. Then I'll say this point, then we can move on to discuss the Revolution card real quick. When it comes to Britt Baker, there was, to me, as much as I like babyface Britt Baker, it's something about heel Britt Baker. Because I remember she came out and she cut that promo in Cleveland. And came out in a stunning red dress, talked about Shivani's teeth because she's a dentist. Then went and cut the most savage of lines that I can think of any wrestling superstar to cut while staying in the parameters of your local team sucks. Because that's the cheap heat that Salamander talks about. But the line was so creative when she went out there and said, Cleveland, you finally have a Baker that you can believe in. And I said, she's ready. She's ready. That's the line that told me she was ready to take this division over.
I mean, but look at Jade Cargill, and nothing against Jade because I do think she can cut tremendous promos, but they're trying to, they're booking Jade like they're booking Bianca in WWE. Jade Cargill is the female black superstar in AEW as Bianca Belair is in WWE, but Jade cuts better promos than Bianca does. But I feel that goes back to my saying, if you turn Bianca heel, Jade and Bianca are going to be two of the same.
Yes, no, I definitely agree with that. But the difference here between Bianca and Jade, and we're gonna move on. The difference between those two, though, is I don't think Jade can be a babyface.
No.
I don't think she can. Bianca's already proven it, and if you can be a good babyface, then you can be a heel, and vice versa. Mm-hmm. Because MJF has got a babyface run in him, whether it's in the dub or whether it's in the E. But you've seen the reactions he gets when he goes to Long Island. You know there's a babyface run in him, mm-hmm. and it's going to be just as good as his heel run, if not even better.
Before you go to the next thing, who do you think would be a good competitor to turn MJF babyface? Like, who, in your opinion, who would you want to put up against him to lose the title and turn him face?
Salamander is going to give me
you
shit.
said Kenny Omega. I swear
he's going to give me shit for this. Look at my, what do you see?
CM Punk. That's who I was thinking.
Yes.
I take everything back. At first,
yes.
I was so like, yeah, CM Punk. I honestly think that's the worst thing that happened to AEW. I mean, it brought in the viewership, but just look how much of a toll that took on everybody. Just think about the aftermath and the stories coming out now and everything, like all the backstage stuff that happened. So he was very negative, like morale wise to AEW. Like money wise and viewership wise, he was a positive, but morale he was a negative. I would say that.
But that, to me, while you're absolutely right, that would be why he would be the perfect candidate to turn. Honestly, how you do it, you host whatever pay-per-view. Can't be on the Dynamite. It's got to be on pay-per-view.
Double or nothing.
That's in Las Vegas. I would say Full Gear, a year from when he won it, because that'd be closer to his. Because that's going to.
Yeah, to make a return in Chicago.
I would say Full Gear because he won it at Full Gear, so that'd be a full year, and it'll be 2 months away from his bidding war of 2024.
You should have him come back at All Out when the fight happened at. It'd be a year to the day of when this stuff happened. He come back. That's how you have him come back after MJF retained.
Yeah, but we can say all day long CM Punk was wrong, but there was a lot of people involved in that were wrong too.
Oh yeah, I believe everybody had their faults in there, even the Elite.
Yes,
even the Elite.
And Kenny Omega too.
Yes.
As much as I love Kenny Omega, he was wrong. The Elite was wrong. CM Punk was wrong, and we got to put Tony Khan in that situation too because he let it happen.
Yes,
that's what I'm saying. Like, there's other things that Tony Khan needs help with. Like, you can't tell me that Tony Khan, all right, we get it. You a super fan. But even the superists or the super fans can't run a whole company by itself, a wrestling company. You need people who's in that industry to help guide you.
Absolutely.
And stuff. So that's why, like I agree with what you said. If you're going to do the writing, you need a booker and shit and stuff like that to actually know what they're doing and stuff to help you out on it.
William Regal would have been a good one too, but now he's gone. So
because he wanted to be next to his son, and I'm never going to deny a father wanting to go back and help his son.
I agree.
So I do agree with that. But moving on to the
there's a reason why we see. I think there's something huge to it that ain't come out yet. But even though Cody said he's wanted to go for the big one, I think that's cap. I think there's way more stuff to it that we now leaking on to it. But eventually it will come out. I think so. And I think there's something more into what was going on. And I think it was really I honestly think, even though he said it's not about money, I think it's the fact that you giving people like Bryan Danielson, all these new people coming from WWE money, but you ain't trying to give your originals that money. And it's like, what do? We deserve to be paid like that too. Cause like, I've been here since when nobody was messing with y'all. Y'all was bringing home 500,000 and stuff. Now y'all up here and stuff. Y'all ain't trying to. You get this person who came from the E. You trying to get him that $5 million a year, but that's what I'm asking for. And I've been here rocking with you since 2018. Since we talked, since it was in the development, we was talking about it.
But see, I think Cody Rhodes is coming back. I think he's going to come back and we'll finally get that answer on what it was. Because either he's going to come back and Tony Khan's going to sign him to an extremely high amount of money, and then he's going to come out and cut that promo because he's not coming back face. He can't come back face. He's going to get booed out of the arena once he comes back. Because it's not like a mid-carder left. It's not like a jobber left. No, you were a top guy who decided who decided to leave the company when it was at its highest to go back to the E. And I'm not saying you're wrong. You absolutely deserve that. Right?
In the dub.
Yeah, so he's gonna come back to the dub as a heel, and that's when he can cut the same type of promo that MJF cut on Tony Khan when he called him a effing mark. That's going to be the exact same promo, but it's going to be from Cody Rhodes, and he's going to be like, "I resign for a boatload of money, the same amount of money that Tony Khan would give me the first time around." And the crowd's going to go nuts. Turning babyface. He comes in as a heel. He cuts that promo. He says something like that. Turns in face. Everybody hates Tony Khan.
You remember what I said before? I think that would help AEW tremendously if they had an on-screen authority figure. That's not Tony Khan. You know how before when we went to the show and Tony Khan came out, talked to the crowd before the show actually started? I think that is great, but he shouldn't be on TV.
Well, he's barely on TV. I told you that.
I mean, just period. I don't think he should be on there at all. We shouldn't just know that, like, before the show, if you there at the show, before you come out, before the show start, actually air on TV, come out, and don't thank everybody for coming. That's great. Like, oh, that's the owner. Boom. But AEW needs an on-screen authority figure. I mean, we say
kind of like a GM.
Yeah. Like, we say a Booker and stuff like that. That's cool. But they got that. They got Arn Anderson. They got them. They got the vets and stuff there.
They need a GM.
Like, he could be it.
Like Teddy Long.
He could be it for real. I mean, you still got, you got Mark Henry and them, but some of the people, do commentary for Dark and all this stuff. What you gonna do for Dynamite? They could be a commentator on Dark and then switch over to GM or whatever role you put it as on Dynamite. I just think they just need that. Cause it's like, I don't know. But to the Kenny Omega shit that we was talking to, I mean, remember, I don't know if you remember, it was a while ago when I said I had heard the stuff that he was saying to the people backstage, and he was like, half of y'all wouldn't even sign.
Yeah.
He was like, if it was up to me and stuff. So I was like, I think that, like, I do think it's more to it than with the CM Punk thing. I don't think everything was on CM Punk. I do think Tony Khan, he's still, I would say if you have to blame somebody, you blame the boss. Because you will sit next to him and you allow that to happen. You could have easily cut off his mic. You could have easily interrupted him and moved on. Or you could have said next question or something like that. You allowed him to speak. You choked on your water and stuff. We see it and stuff. So it's like...
But here's what I'll say. Then we do got to move on. But here's what I'll say to that. I think he wanted to give it more of a sports feel. When you, even in the NBA, when you go up there for the post-game conference, nobody's going to cut your mic. If you want to get out there and, what's his name? Fred VanVleet just got fined $30. Literally came up there and said, I really don't give a damn if I get fined, but I'm going to say this. And he named the official that he felt did some bad officiating and just let him have it. fined $30K for it. I think Tony Khan wants to give it that sports feel, and you can tell that even by watching the beginning of Revolution.
If you give it a sports feel when shit happens, it's a combat sport. So if you give it a sports feel and the fight just so happen to happen backstage, don't suspend motherfuckers for it. That's how I see it. Because at the same time, where we could take
They didn't suspend Brock Lesnar. They didn't suspend Brock when he hit them officials. He got fined for it, but he was never suspended.
But I think that was more storyline wise. But like,
true.
Like you could take UFC. How many times during the press conference and weigh-ins we see them kind of get physical, and it's just built in anticipation. Like, oh, this match, this fight about to be lit. Yeah, it's a compact sport. If you want to make people in the 21st century take wrestling more serious, you can't let somebody go off script and say what they want to say about somebody. Then when they go backstage to confront them, you want to be like, well, if you hit them, you get suspended. It's a combat sport. If that's the case, you didn't want to take it to the next level, you shouldn't let him say what he had to say.
But see, my thing is, I also told you, and then Ms. Quinn, I'm going to give it to you. You can wrap it up. But I made that point of where you can throw that. Yeah, we can blame Tony Khan should have cut his mic. But if you still want to keep it that sports field, then you should have immediately grabbed the elite. I know y'all were watching. But instead of reacting, go out here to this press conference and air your grievances. CM Punk did it. Yeah. So you three come out here, air your grievances. We'll talk about it later. But he aired his grievances. So instead of confronting him, you come out to this podium, you air your grievances, then we'll work everything out.
That's how it should be. Like the post press conference I usually be, during like when they were boxers just trying to hop up that fight, you got the podium right here, then you got one fight on that side with his team, one on this side with their team.
Yes.
That's how it should be. Like even after y'all match, it should be boom boom instead of me bringing you out and having you talk and then I'm gonna bring the next your opponent. If y'all argue, but that's what it is. Then that's what the middle podium for, because if Tony Khan's in that middle podium.
Nothing's gonna happen.
Yeah,
you're not gonna fight each other.
Both sides, but it's like, all right, do what y'all do.
Then that's
how it should have been.
I agree with that. Then that's when you book the all-out fight in the ring.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like it's none of this stuff. I get it. I blame Tony Khan because it shouldn't even escalate to a fight. And if it did, I don't think people should have been suspended because I get it. Like stuff happens and people want to be. You got bit and stuff, and then you probably got. Your wife was backstage, so you probably got pushed on. Your ego hurts, so you want to sue and stuff and take legal actions. But to me, I think it's soft for one. But I don't think if you in a physical, if you in a combat sport, you shouldn't be taking no legal actions against somebody who's in that same sport. Like, no, give me a 1-on-1 match with him next week or some shit like that. Like, it shouldn't be, oh, you hit me and we not on TV, so now my feelings hurt, so I'm gonna sue. No, it's a combat sport. This is what we do. This is how we take out our anger. We got a problem, we take it out. This is how we do. See me in the ring.
Absolutely.
That's how it should be.
Absolutely.
But I don't know. I just think they went the whole different way with that stuff.
Yep. It's Quinn.
Nope, that's it. That's what I was gonna say. Let them air it out together on air. CM Punk did it. The Elite and Kenny Omega should have did it. Then Tony should have just booked it in the ring and let them just go at it.
I agree.
Can I say one thing? This is about Ring of Honor though. Why are they taking the belt off of Mark Briscoe?
They're doing a reach for the sky ladder match. Yeah, I know.
Why?
I know. We do got to move on. I know what we said, and they should have done it. But I can appreciate Tony Khan giving an opportunity to tag teams who normally wouldn't have gotten that chance.
I like it, but it's like I get it, but it's like why though? Like, what was the point of having if that's all you're gonna do is basically strip him for the title? What was the point of even having him appear with it this whole time and an announcement and stuff like that? I just kind of feel like, boom, we already knew. So when he came out that he had his first match with Jay on AEW Dynamite, he had his match with Jay Lethal. I think the perfect way to end it was after he won, he had both of the titles held it up in the air. Was, I did this for you, Jay. And then walk off the ramp and give him to Tony Khan.
Okay.
And then that's it. You feel me? And then that following week we'll see him on Ring of Honor doing singles activity and stuff. So then it kind of makes sense that way instead of him just being on TV and it be like announcing that what's gonna happen. It's like now it's like I'll just hope you don't be lost in the shuffle.
Well, I'm gonna wrap this up real quick. It looks like they're going Mark Briscoe, Samoa Joe.
I mean, I think they should have a match and whoever win that match, that team should face him. He should be a fighting champion just to see. And if he beats them, keep both titles on him. Okay. Have him go to a quest of him to see. Like, I would have him fight by himself and defend the titles. And then he just on the quest to see who will be worthy enough to fight with him. Okay. Who will honor his brother's name and defend these titles with him. Gotcha. I think that story will be so much better.
Gotcha. All right, we're going to go ahead and discuss the Revolution match card. The champ is here. 6-2. I went 6-2 on this Revolution card while you went 4-4. And like I've been telling you two off the script, wrestling, and even on this podcast, it has a funny way of coming full circle. Because technically I should have won this at All Out, but I let you talk me out of CM Punk when I knew what the booking was. I literally called the booking down to the T, and I let you talk me out of CM Punk. And instead, I decided to go Jon Moxley, and we tied. But everything comes full circle because I talked you out of Samoa Joe. I'm sorry, no, I talked you out of Wardlow. Talked you to stay with Samoa Joe. But I am your new champ, and the reign of terror begins now. There will be no title matches. There will be no title matches. I will not be defending this. Or better yet, when I do defend it, guess what turf it'll be on?
Of course, AEW.
Exactly. So, coming up, Miss Quinn and Camille Salamander will be doing a number one contenders match at WrestleMania. Night 1 and night 2. I'm not going to throw NXT in there. But night 1 and night 2. Night 1 and night 2. Winner gets me at AEW Double or Nothing. And I will see one of you two there. But this Revolution card was absolutely fantastic from top to bottom. We're going to start off with the first match of the show, Ricky Starks versus Chris Jericho. Ricky Starks got the win. Camille Salamander, what did you think of Ricky Starks versus Chris Jericho?
Ricky Starks, Chris Jericho, I knew Ricky Starks was going to come in because I knew he was going to be the winner. I heard different reports that Chris Jericho was trying to take some time off. I don't know if he's trying to go on tour with Mozzie or not, but Fozzy or not, but I know I did hear some reports that he was going to take some time off. So, I mean, when it came to that match, it was pretty much ready to occur. Plus, you're trying to build up a new star and stuff, too. I mean, they missed the opportunity. It was too soon, but they missed that opportunity with him and MJF. They ran it too soon, but, I mean, Ricky Starks, man, he's AEW feature if they book him right. If they do it right.
Absolutely. Miss Quinn, what did you think of the match?
It was great. I mean, I did pick Chris Jericho to win this match because I ultimately felt that there was going to be a swerve thrown in there. But, of course, that didn't happen, and Ricky Starks came out on top.
I love this match. Ricky Starks never ceases to impress me. I can watch Ricky Starks any day, cutting a promo, and you know how Jericho's got the Judas, everybody sings it. Ricky Starks has got his top rope celebration. And you're starting to see everybody in the crowd doing it. So I can only imagine a 10,000, 15,000 seat arena where everybody's just doing that. And it's going to be a good visual. Just like when they cut to the crowd singing Judas. So I think Ricky Starks is the future of AEW. I think he wins the world title within the next 2 years. I think he's a world champion within the next 2 years. Mm-hmm. Moving on, we have the last burial match. Jungle Boy, Jack Perry against one of my all-time favorites, Christian Cage. This match had a little bit of a buried alive as well as a casket match. So I do like how they mixed the two and made it unique. I think what stood out to me was the visual of the casket dropping when Jungle Boy closed the cage, but I also love how Jungle Boy looked conflicted, especially when he went for the concerto and hit it. And I just like because they played on that. That's what happened on Dynamite. He didn't pull the trigger. Christian Cage hitting with the low blow. So I do like the callbacks. Christian Cage, and I'm going to ask you two this. I think Christian Cage was heavily underutilized as a single star in WWE, specifically that 2008 to 2010 run.
Shit, it's real documented. This man wanted to put a dot on his face anytime he appeared on TV. It's well documented.
Miss Quinn, what did you think of the match first? And Camille Salamander, we're going to hand it to you.
I thought the match was great. I loved all the callbacks in that match, as well as the casket buried alive, feel that it had to it. Christian Cage made Jack Perry go to a place that he didn't want to go to, but he had to go there to defeat that demon. And I just thought it was great. McMarvelous, as we can say.
Camille Solomon.
Jack Perry, Jungle Boy. Where's Luchasaurus?
He got taken out in that cage match. He hasn't been back yet.
But Jack Perry, I mean, I see a future star in him. I see a future champion in him as well. I think honestly think he gonna be the one to take it off of Orange Cassidy for real. He might be the one. He might be the one for real.
So he's going to take it off of... so you think he's going to be all international?
They changed the name because I heard
they did change the name. They're doing... Because here's the thing. So he might be, though, because they're running...
I kind of like the All Atlantic, though.
I did, too, but they got
it sounds
they got Pacific flags in there, like Japan, China.
What is it's the Atlantic?
Yeah, but that's not in the Atlantic. Yeah.
But it's too much close to the Intercontinental Champion.
Well,
international. I mean, we know what that is. It's an Intercontinental.
Yeah, I mean, it's
supposed whoever holds that title is supposed to defend it against all newcomers around the whole globe. That's what the feel I get.
Yeah, but they're running me and Miss Quinn's guy. JEFF JARREE Jeff Jarrett.
I'm sorry, I'm getting tired of these old niggas, man.
First off, I said I had the same thought process, but Jeff and you guys can give me flack for all you want, but I believe Miss Quinn would agree. I think Miss Quinn would agree. Jeff Jarrett has been one of the best things on AEW television since he stepped foot in the company, and that is sad.
I mean, this is a new company with young stars. I'm tired of seeing.
But do you hear
the old people?
But do you hear the heat?
Yeah, but
hear the heat.
I'm tired of seeing him taking a lot of TV time. I'm tired of seeing fucking Billy Gunn taking a lot of TV time.
Well, he could be acclaimed.
It's like
forget this.
The only person I like to see is my boy Sting. He's 70, go through 17 tables.
Forget this guy. Double J is doing a tremendous job. Moving on to what Miss Quinn thought was going to be the match of the night, and we did ask about star ratings in the previous podcast that we didn't get a chance to post, but we all agreed that this was going to be a 4.5 to 5. I'm going to ask you guys after I give my take on it. We have the AEW World Trios Championship match, the Elite, Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks, defending against the House of Black, Brody King, Buddy Matthews, and Malachi Black. House of Black won, new Trios champions. Love that. Match itself, 4.75. I felt like it was missing one more thing. But it was a tremendous 10 to 15 minutes of just, I think the ending sequences, the ending pinning sequences is what really pushed it to that 4.75 when it lost control. But Julia Hart taking a V trigger, that was a tremendous visual. Mm-hmm. That was tremendous. Camille Salamander?
I mean, the match was good, but we all know, usually when you drop the title, you kind of get dip off of the title pictures for a while. But we all know they about to they're gonna run like a trios match with FTR some way, somehow. But we all know the Elite. We all know Kenny Omega gonna dip his way back into the AEW World title picture. And the Young Bucks is gonna go back into the AEW title picture. It's like I've been saying before, it's just, they stay in that picture no matter what. But, I mean, the match was good though. It was probably, it's time for that new face. I mean, before the Elite, it was, I forgot it, but Pac and Penta and them, they held the title. That was the first inaugural,
the Elite one.
Yeah, you're gonna say the Elite. But then, that stuff happened, but yeah. I mean, it was good. It was about time for us to know. I just hope that the House of Black goes on. They should go close to a year. I would say close to a year. But the question is, who do they drop it to? Who's the next in line?
Well, I'll get to that in a minute. Miss Quinn, go ahead.
Great match. I agree. 4.7. If you do a rating on it, but Julia Hart taking the V trigger. I mean, Kenny Omega warned her to get off the side of the ring. She didn't move, and she's the one who got hit. But it was a great match, and I predicted, we all predicted House of Black to win. And overall, they are the next, big trios in AEW right now. And they deserve it. They do deserve it. And I'm ready to see this triple threat that we got going on Dynamite next week.
That's what I was going to tell you, Camille Salamander. So apparently, because we're in Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada. And so when I tell you that Jericho and Omega are both from Winnipeg, what do you think Tony Khan will book?
And who?
Chris Jericho and Kenny Omega are both from Winnipeg. Mm-hmm. What do you think Tony Khan will book?
Both of them.
In a singles?
Yes.
No, you're wrong. We're doing a triple threat trios championship match.
So the Jericho Appreciation versus the Elite versus who?
House of Black.
House of Black.
Here's the thing. There's only one way.
Who's gonna win?
Here's the thing. I told Miss Quinn, it's a setup to get one of these two people a win in their hometown.
Yeah, I don't think AEW do that.
Yeah, I don't think Tony Khan is sending both of these teams home with an L and Winnipeg.
I think that's hard because it's like when is the show supposed to happen?
Wednesday.
If you do this shit, you're gonna end up in the same situation with the TNT title. Yes. Why are you playing hot potato with the titles? It's taking away the prestige. Tony Khan, you're gonna have to forget. That's why I keep saying he needs a booker because he keep booking himself into a corner. Because eventually we're not gonna care about these titles. Eventually these titles are just gonna be just accessories at this point and stuff. It really ain't gonna be. I mean, he gonna have. I'll say he should do the ultimate swerve. Yes, we know that they in hometown, but who? As long as Kenny don't take the pin, or as long as Chris don't take the pin, hey.
I was thinking if the House of Black are going to retain, there are only two people who can take this pinfall: Sammy Guevara and Daniel Garcia.
Yeah.
Those are the only two who can take a pinfall. Moving on to the match that we all got wrong. Oh, Tony Khan pulled the wool over our eyes because it was set up for a title change. AEW Women's World Championship on the line. Champion Jamie Hayter defending against Ruby Soho and Saraya. Jamie Hayter got the win by pinning Ruby Soho, which led to a Ruby Soho heel turn. And I wanted to address the promo she cut on Wednesday. This might have been the first time where a You People's promo actually made sense. It made absolute sense because I went back and I was just thinking back on everything she was saying. When she came in and she had her match against Dr. Britt Baker at Grand Slam and she lost, they cheered. When she had her tournament match against Jade Cargill, they cheered. Everything she said made absolute sense, and I loved it. I love the fact that we're sticking with Jamie Hayter. I love the fact that we're sticking with Jamie Hayter because I've been saying this. I think there is a Britt Baker heel turn down the line, and that will eventually get Britt Baker the title back. I don't want that to happen within the next 6 months. I think it should be about another 10 months to a year. Then we can see Dr. Britt Baker. Honestly, I would want to say if they go to Pittsburgh within the next 10 to 12 months, I think you do it in Pittsburgh.
Agreed.
Ms. Quinn, what did you think of the match?
I thought it was a great match, great triple threat match. Of course, I did pick Ruby Soho to win. I picked her to pin Saraya and come out champion, but I like the twist and Jamie Hayter coming out as the winner in this match. I do see Jamie Hayter versus Dr. Britt Baker here in the near future, and Britt taking that title off of her.
I can't agree more, Camilla.
This was the ultimate swerve. I honestly think I was going for Saraya because I'm like, the real built up anticipation for her to return and stuff, and then when she finally did return and stuff, I'm like, all right, boom. Then it was like, I felt like for a little moment she was lost, and then now they doing this build up and stuff with her. Then I was like, this is our moment, a triple threat. The champion don't got to take the pinfall. They could keep Jamie Hayter strong, but not. I mean. This one I will give it up to her. He did swerve us. He did swerve us on this one.
Yeah,
because I was not expecting for her to retain at all. But I have a problem with the heel turn that happened. I mean, to me, I just think it would have made more sense if it would have happened if Saraya and Soho would have teamed up more throughout the match. I think then seeing it coming, the heel turn happen, it wouldn't have been like, because I didn't think it made sense. It's like, because y'all was just going at it not too long ago. Now you were teaming up with them. Like, I think it would just make more sense if we just started seeing it. So then it wouldn't be surprising if she did line the stuff up with familiar faces that she's seen before.
I think, and we're going to move on to the next match because I definitely want to spend a little bit of time talking about this match. But I think they had done a good job of building it up over the weeks leading up to Revolution with Ruby Soho really not picking a side and really having you to lead into what you believe. You know, either you're going to say, well, technically she's been by herself and she's kind of been doing good, so she really doesn't need to join with Saraya and Toni Storm, or you're leaning into but them were her girls in the E. She rocked with them. So it makes sense for her to join as well.
The outsiders.
Yeah. Moving on to probably, I think that's what they're going with. Moving on to probably I'm going to go out of here and say it. As of right now, this is my match of the year. This is my match of the year. Just strictly on the brutality of it. Texas Deathmatch, Jon Moxley, Hangman Adam Page. There were so many spots in here where you just think, what the fuck? One of the spots that I go to is the fork spot. Where he locked Jon Moxley locked Hangman in a triangle, stabbed him with the fork, and the image of the blood just spurting out of Hangman and covering Moxley's whole body. To him stomping on Hangman's hands with the bricks, to Hangman hanging him up and getting a tap out, which is something we don't really see from Moxley and the BCC and AEW. I thought this match was absolutely fantastic. 5 stars. Hand it to you, Miss Quinn. Me and you watched this match in sheer horror. Couldn't open our eyes to see the next spot or the next spot.
That was the all gripping, ooh, what's going to happen horror match next. Yes. I mean, it was great. I got to give this, I would say, and I do agree with you, this is one of the best matches on this card. If you put any of the matches in a top 3, this would be my first one. Moxley tapping out at the end, being hung from the ropes. I didn't expect Hangman to win that way. I figured it was going to be a help me out,
like KB. A pinfall or a knockout.
No, his move.
The buckshot.
The buckshot lariat off the ropes with the barbed wire.
Yes,
I thought that's how Hangman was going to finish that match. But all in all, great. Camellia, what you think?
It's not the match of the night, because the match of the night, in my opinion, I think it's the next one. It's a Jon Moxley match. What's a Jon Moxley match without blood?
Yeah, but I would say this: AEW gets a lot of heat for how they use blood. I say on this show in particular, the uses of blood were absolutely correct.
Yeah, it was.
But if you go back to the Briscoes versus FTR in that dog collar match, that dog collar match was way worse than what we got out of this Texas Death Match.
Oh yes, absolutely. Absolutely. No, I 100% agree, but I also think that Caprice Coleman and Ian Riccaboni put that match over, especially with Caprice Coleman saying the smell of iron.
Yeah.
So I think he really put that over. Moving on, we had the TNT Championship match. First let me start off. The TNT Championship match, the King of Television, Samoa Joe, defending against Wardlow. This match was not bad. It was in the wrong spot, but I'm going to give Tony Khan credit because a lot of times he would have put a women's match there.
I think it should have co-main event.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Because it's not often we see Samoa Joe get choked out.
Valid point.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Valid point.
I mean, it's not often we see that. It's not often we see him get manhandled either.
And with the build-up of Wardlow's return, yeah, I can see that.
Instead of putting it right in the middle, you could have keep building up towards that. Towards the match and everything, because it just leave it off like, what we gonna end with? Cause AEW, they're not afraid to put that AEW World Title spot, they could put that in the beginning, they could put it in the middle. They're not afraid just to throw it out whenever.
Right.
So it will give the thing of, ooh, is Samoa Joe or Warlock on main event and stuff. So I think it would have just been better.
I agree. Anything else you want to add, Miss Quinn?
No, we can go to the next.
We're moving on to the AEW World Tag Team Championship match. My boys, the Guns, Austin and Cole Gunn, defending against the Acclaimed.
Yes.
With going against Jay Lethal and J.E. double F, J.A. double R, E double T. Jeff Jarrett. And
That's too long.
don't ever talk about J.E. double F, J.A. double R, E double T like that. Moving on to the unlikely duo of Danhausen and freshly squeezed Orange Cassidy. You know what? Once I saw the match start and I got to look at Danhausen, I said nobody else is taking this pinfall but you. That's why you're in the match. That's the sole reason you're in this match, to take this pinfall. But the story was fine, but we all know what the talking point was. Yes. Return of the top guys. FTR. My goodness. You know, this week has been, from Sunday on, this week has really been about huge pops. He returns and huge pops. I go back to Monday Night Raw. And the pop, and maybe it's just because it was in his hometown.
Yeah, of course. That's
but John Cena gets those pops anyway. They're just more mixed.
He get them when he been away for a while.
But
if you've been on TV for like three weeks in a row, it's like you don't hear that. You'll hear John Cena sucks.
I was gonna say it's more mixed. Yeah, it's more mixed when he's not in his hometown. When he's been
gone for a while, then that's when it'd be like, all right, yeah, we do love you. Everybody loves to hate Cena.
That is true. But I go back to that huge pop that he got, and then that immediately put me into the mindset of when CM Punk returned at the United Center, and that pop.
Ain't nothing touching AEW so far like that. I swear.
I would say FTR tonight, it came close.
Nah.
Because you got to think. Because you got to think though that was CM Punk being away for 7 years, and they sold out the United Center on a whim. This was, we kind of know FTR is coming back, but we really don't know what's up with their contract. He just posted a picture on Twitter looking like a big WWE logo. What's the fuck's going on? Are they coming back to take the belts off the Guns? And next thing you know, Renee Paquette's in there. She's cutting they're cutting a promo. Nobody's better than us. You guys didn't believe in us. And what do you hear? Dum 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 dum. Doing FTR. Oh my God, it's FTR! And
the delay of them even walking out made it even better.
Yes, that really put it over, because you hear it, but you're like, where are they? And because and I think WWE does a good job with this when they're in a heated feud where you got that heel comes out and he's cutting a promo and he's like whatever person he's feuding with, and then the music hits. And you're like, oh, okay, yeah, we about to get a fight. And he's like, you thought he was going down. I got you. Well, it was the same thing here. It easily could have went the other way of the Guns being like, you thought FTR was here. Mm-hmm. We got you.
Oh, no. I think ain't nothing touching that CM Punk return.
No, it's not going to.
Huge. Everybody, you probably couldn't even hear yourself breathe.
You're getting pops more regular on AEW now.
But one thing I want to say about the tag team match, it was cool. I just hated the end because we already know what's going to be. They're going to drop the titles right to FTR. And it's going to be quick. AEW is they booking themselves into a hole with the tag titles, the trio titles, and then the TNT titles.
I would say I think he's getting that tag division back together because the elite aren't needed in that trios. They can easily go back to Tony Khan needs to get back to the roots of the tag team division, booking it around FTR, booking it around the Bucks. Same thing with that main title, booking it around MJF, or Kenny Omega. If you want to throw Punk back in there, that's cool. He shouldn't touch the title, but if you want to throw him in there for a couple of defenses, or a couple of challenges for the title, he can lose. You can throw him in there.
I beg to differ. Because it's like, it's weird because it's like, you booking yourself, like, I would say both of that, like, that tag division, I would put the trios tag in, not the women's, but I would put the trios tag in, they regular tag division in the same spot. I mean, they both is booking them to a wall. It's like, you can bounce back. And the only way for you to bounce back is to put them on the Young Bucks. But it's like, how many times are you going to do that? You can put on the Young Bucks in the Elite, but how many times are you going to do that?
That makes sense. Miss Quinn, anything you want to add about this Fatal 4 tag?
That's what it seemed
The
like.
Fatal 4-Way tag match, it was great. I mean, you both picked the Guns to win, and I chose Jay Lethal and Jeff Jarrett to take that win. Only because I felt a swerve coming in that match. That didn't happen, of course, but, all in all, it was a great match.
Moving on to the main event, the AEW World Championship 60-minute Iron Man match, MJF versus the American Dragon, Bryan Danielson.
Meltzer gave this shit 5 3/4.
He absolutely should have.
Yeah.
He absolutely should have. I think what really put this over was how everything flowed, and the ending played into the match going into OT. Because how does MJF get an oxygen tank? They came in and started giving him oxygen, so they had that oxygen tank had a reason to be there. And MJF doing the low blow to even it up at 2 falls. My goodness, that was pure genius. Now, me personally, I don't think he should have got 2 falls out of that, but I understand why he got 2 falls out of that.
Mm-hmm.
And him tapping out to the label lock. My goodness. What a visual. John Moxley taps out. Bryan Danielson taps out. Arguably the 2 biggest guys of BCC. Both tapped out. My goodness, what a visual. By homegrown talent. My goodness. Miss Quinn, what did you think of the main event?
I ain't even gonna lie, it had me on the edge of my seat.
Yes.
I could have seen Danielson taking this match, and if he would have won, I wouldn't have been disappointed. But I see where Tony Khan is taking MJF, and it's going to be the return of CM Punk. And does CM Punk take the belt? Yes, he does, and turn MJF face, because we're going to get a great babyface run out of MJF. And it's going to happen, but when? That's going to be the next question.
I say if he resigns, if the storyline of 2024 has already been taken care of, you bring him back full gear. He beats MJF. MJF disappears. You don't hear anything.
Like the last time?
Yep, you hear nothing. And just let it sit there. Because you've already got him locked up. Like, yeah, just go entertain WWE so we can get the headlines out there. You know what I'm saying, Salamander? Just go entertain them. We know you're locked up. But go and entertain them so we can get the headlines out. Mm-hmm. Then you bring him back, I say Double or Nothing, in May. You bring him back in Double or Nothing in May. He makes his return. If you can get double, I would say this, either you bring him back or Double or Nothing or a Dynamite where it's in Long Island. He has to come back at Long Island.
Absolutely.
I think
in his hometown.
I think we all missing the most important tease. And before the match, where Bryan Danielson came out and Justin Roberts is in the ring, he came up to him and did that to his tie. You remember he got fired when he was in the group in the Nexus. He had choked Justin Roberts, but that was off script, so they fired him for it.
Yes.
That's the ultimate tease that I think everybody forgot.
Yes. Like I said, if you can't book Double or Nothing in Long Island, then you do a Dynamite after Double or Nothing, and he comes back. CM Punk could just be. I say you would have to put CM Punk against the biggest babyface at that time, and he beats them by cheating. Mm-hmm. Comes out in Long Island, he's automatically getting booed because they remember everything that he did to MJF. And if I was Tony Khan, I would go on a radio show, probably like Bust It Open. Hey man, coming out Double or Nothing, CM Punk just defended that belt. We haven't heard from MJF. Apparently, he's got interest in WWE. I think he got a huge surprise coming tonight. Just watch. And honestly, I would do this at the 9 o'clock hour. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't do this at 8.
Oh, heck yeah.
I would do this at the 9 o'clock hour. CM Punk comes out 8:55. He goes out. He berates the crowd for about 4 minutes. You got to squeeze in that commercial. 8:59 comes. He's starting to talk. I mean, he's going in, get the button for the swears ready. Because I want him to basically go pipe bomb. and just get to talking about the shit in the back, how he's been treated, everything with the all out brawl out.
Then you hear that dun-dun-dun, dun-dun-dun.
Yep, you hear that MJF thing, and Long Island's gonna go nuts.
I think they should close the show with it. Make it feel like it's about to go off the air, like at like 10:55. I mean, not 10:55, 9:55. And they be thinking like, all right, the last match just happened, so we like, all right, damn, they about to go off. Well, we still got 5 minutes left.
That's
and
a
then out of nowhere,
cliffhanger.
then boom.
Yes.
And then,
Because we have to wait a week.
yeah, us as TV television, we have to wait a week. But the Long Island crew, they get to see the whole thing what happened off the air.
Right.
That's right.
So,
Right. But you know what? My
it
thing
builds anticipation because I guarantee Dynamite that next week they should open up.
with MJF.
No, they should open up what happened when it went off the air.
Oh, gotcha.
Like showing in black and white, like this is what happened, so people would know. It's like, oh, stuff.
I would argue that's a good idea, and I like that. My only problem is WWE has got us accustomed to when there's a cash-in going to happen. And that main event, whether it's on SmackDown, SmackDown not so much now because it goes off at 9:58. But we can talk about when there's going to be a cash-in on Monday Night Raw, and that main event ends about 10:55. And you're looking at the clock because you remember somebody's got a Money in the Bank briefcase, and you're like someone said, it's 10:55, and this main event's over. Somebody's about to come down and cash in. So, but I think they can do it because there's not a Money in the Bank type of thing in AEW. So, but I do like his idea. I like both of you guys' idea.
I don't ever tune off until I see the closed caption.
Until I see the watermark.
Yeah,
I got to see the watermark before I know it's going on.
I know, like, yeah, it's about.
But you know what though? Props to Triple H. I'm going to go back and before we move on to cover SmackDown real quick, but I'm going to give Triple H props. I'm going to go back to when Tommaso Ciampa turned on Johnny Gargano, and they hit us with the watermark. And they're going up the ramp, and he puts his arm around Gargano. You see the watermark. You're like, oh, okay, that's cool. Mind you, and this is what really put that over for me. Tommaso Ciampa was on a torn ACL. He tore his ACL in that match. I don't know how he's still standing. You see the watermark. He throws Johnny Gargano into the Titantron, and you're like, oh no.
You know, stories repeat themselves. What if they tell that same story with the Street Profits?
It'll probably go down as one of the best storylines of that time.
They get like another title opportunity, but they lose. You know, the last time I thought it was gonna happen when they sat in the ring, was just sitting there for a while.
Yes,
I thought it was gonna happen then, but I think what if they do it again? Like, man, we keep getting. They only had a title one time. It was the Raw titles.
Yes.
Before that, yeah. So then I think it was like, what if then they lose it to not Radio RKO, but RK Bro.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah. So I was like, but they only had it for that.
No. Didn't they? I thought they lost it to Gable and Otis. We'll look into it and we'll get back.
Only one. They only had it for like.
Because I know they took it off. They took it off Seth and Buddy.
Yeah, I think they only had like one reign though.
Yeah, it was only one.
But it's like they be trying to capture assistance. So I was like, I think that would be if you're going to break them up, I think that would be the perfect way to do it. Like we tell that story. That was the NXT story. I mean, we all know it as diehard fans, but you know. People wasn't hip to NXT like that then, so it's like they didn't really know the story.
Right.
So it's like I think that would be perfect for you to tell, but so we all think it's gonna be Angelo that's gonna turn on him, dude. But I'll have Montez there. Had him going up the ramp with their heads down, and he finally snapped and just boom. Just turn it, so because you see how he be tweaking and stuff. You see it at the Elimination Chamber, he be sitting there just doing all this. So like, yeah, just have him start tweaking.
So let me ask you this before we move on to SmackDown. And if you guys don't want to add anything for SmackDown, if you felt as though you guys would cover SmackDown, I'll just do that in 5. Got a couple things. Okay, you got something to say, Miss Quinn?
No, not really. The only thing I could touch on for real is Charlotte Flair and Rhea Ripley right now, but you guys will probably cover that. So.
Okay.
Yeah, I really don't have nothing for SmackDown.
All right, well then that'll be me and Salamander then. So let me ask you guys this: if that's how it happens, does he breeze past Bianca, or does Bianca come out try to reason with him, and then as Angelo Dawkins is getting back up, she hits him, and
they both turn heel at the same time?
I think it's more of a thing like when that happened next week, you play it off of, you know, Angelo going to her like, sis, what's going on? We're going on with Taz and stuff, and then it's more of a like, you know, I don't know. Let me talk to him and see, and then we just like, you know, Triple H. He like to put things in the background now. So now, like, you know, we see something happen. We can see her going into like her talking to Taz, and they probably like decided like that they dip off into like the locker room or something like that. And then now next time we see Angelo and Bianca together, it's kind of like she acting iffy before she finally make her true decisions and stuff, and side with her husband.
Gotcha. Love it.
I mean, that's the WWE way. I mean, if it was like AEW, they would have just did like what you said, just have her come out, pick the side right then and there.
Yeah, because that's not AEW is more so about the in-ring work than it is the stories. But I think either way will work fine. If you want to prolong it, you do it the WWE way. If you want just that sudden impact of everything all at once, all emotions to hit you right then and there, you do it the other way. But touching on SmackDown real quick, I'm not going to give us a time limit because I don't really have that much to say about SmackDown anyway. So I will probably be about 3. I'll probably only need about 3. Rey Mysterio, Dominique, don't like it. Don't like the fact that we did the announcement for him being in the Hall of Fame. You guys, you both said that during your Raw. Rhea Ripley has looked absolutely weak in this feud with Charlotte Flair. I mean, she's looked absolutely out of place to the point to where I don't want to see Rhea win the SmackDown Women's Championship. I'd much rather them keep it on Charlotte Flair. Mm-hmm. And that's just me keeping it 100. The whole bloodline with the J and why he chose what he gave his explanation on why he betrayed Sammy. It was cool. It was fine, and it made perfect sense. He didn't do it for Sammy. He did it for his brother because his brother's about to get clipped. He's mad at Roman, not Sammy. What I don't like, and Salamander said this is going to be the tag match within the next week or two, and I totally agree. But why does it need to happen? Why is Cody Rhodes sticking his nose in bloodline business? He has no reason to. Your beef is with Roman, not the rest of the bloodline. So whatever's happening to Sammy should just be getting beat up by itself. And that's that. So I don't know why they're doing that. The story here is KO and Sammy getting together. So
so many stories.
Yeah, it's so many stories within one. And it's kind of just confusing to me because, again, why is Cody there? Why is Cody helping out Sami Zayn? To me, it just goes back to that, hey, we're both baby faces, so we're going to help each other. And that's not what I want, and what has been to me a flawless story. Because I don't care what nobody says. People can sit here and say, oh well, the bloodline has been on top for too long, and well, nobody else is getting over, and da 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 da. But I'm like, yeah, but it's been the best story in the past 2 years on both companies. Yeah. There hasn't, I would say, and I told you this even when the CM Punk and MJF storyline was going on, it was the equivalent of the bloodline, but the bloodline was better because there was actual family involved. Mm-hmm. The only thing that the MJF and CM Punk storyline was giving you was hot lines of, if you want a main event, a 2-for-1 extravaganza, or them just talking about each other. Like, yeah, it gave you the background, but it didn't really give you that much a substance as the bloodline story does. But yeah, I'm definitely not liking that. And again, I go back to the Fatal 5-Way that was just last night where they put they put Xavier Woods in there, and I kind of wish I would have saw Xavier Woods win, but it's kind of like the report has been going around that there's going to be a triple threat match at Mania for the IC title. So why in the hell are we getting Drew McIntyre and Sheamus both winning on a double 3 count? I don't like that. Only for them to fight next week. Definitely not a fan of that.
Yes.
How much time do you need? Unlimited. Go ahead, Camille. Get it out.
First thing first, Ray and Dom. We knew it was coming. I kind of think it was just too long for real. I do think it's gonna be if it's not gonna be a 1-on-1, it's gonna be a triple threat match at Mania with Santos, Dom, and Ray. Winners get crowned. I mean, shit, it shouldn't even be. I honestly think if it's not gonna be a 1-on-1 match, it's gonna be if it's not gonna be a 1-on-1 between Ray and Dom, it's gonna be a 1-on-1 between Dom and Santos. Winner gets Ray mask. Since Ray is retiring, it's already announced. So,
but if you go back, Ray already gave Santos the mask in the locker room.
Dom broke it.
But that's what I'm saying. Ray is already past. He's passing the torch already.
That's the ultimate respect. But it's like he passed the torch, but he don't got the approval for his next of heir. and stuff. So it's like,
Santos is the best
I'm
choice.
gonna beat it in you for real.
Because my son don't want nothing to do with me, so I'm going to choose you.
But it's like if you don't accept what your dad said, I'm gonna beat. If you don't accept the fact that your dad respected me as a luchador, I'm gonna beat it in you type shit. So I think that's what it is. So I think that's honestly the WrestleMania match. And then I think not Santos. I think honestly Ray is gonna be at Santos' corner.
Yeah,
That's who he wants to don his mask and stuff. And he don't want his son to don his mask because of all the disrespect and stuff too. That's one. Rhea Ripley and Charlotte. I'm getting tired of seeing the face-offs. We already had a face-off like last week. I'm getting tired of seeing these face-offs again. I mean, just stay on Raw. I mean, you had that face-off last week. Not last week, but was it last week or 2 weeks ago?
It was either last week or 2 weeks ago.
And then you had a one-on-one match with Liv Morgan. All right, boom. Now stay on Raw until it's time. That's how I feel. Because how many times you gonna have a face off? Y'all gonna say the same shit? I mean, she said something where she got a real luchador and stuff. I mean, we already knew what she was talking about.
Yeah.
But I'm like, it's dope and stuff at this point. Like, I don't want this next week. I don't want to see Rhea and Charlotte in the ring again talking again. I mean, how many times can you do that? I mean, what's the difference between the last 2 times? Ain't no difference. And then, I mean, I like how WWE try to act like we didn't notice that they replaced Kofi and shit. Like, they just squeezed Xavier Woods in there. Like, at first I thought Woods was going to... Remember I said I think they should have did a Fatal 6-Way match. Just put both of the New Day in there. And so, because they both came out to talk about Karrion Kross and stuff. So, no, LA Knight. So they both should have been involved into the match. But instead, I think Kofi's out with an injury and stuff. I don't know how he got injured. It had to been off.
I think it was the dive that McIntyre did.
So he's injured now. So you replace him with Xavier Woods. Then you had a match. And then you got, the double pin shit. I think that would have been a perfect way to set up a triple threat at Mania. Like, well, double pin, this is the way to resolve it. Boom. But instead, you having them face one-on-one next week to determine the number 1 contenders match. Which that following week, you're going to do some type of twist to have them set up again. And then for the go-home show, you're going to announce it's going to be a triple threat anyway. So what's the point? We already know that's the way they're going to go. They're not going to have Gunther take a pinfall loss cleanly in the ring. They're going to put the title on Sheamus so he can be a Grand Slam champion. And they're going to do it with Drew McIntyre taking the pinfall. It's obvious. That's one, and I'm not with that.
Hold on, before you make your next point, we all know how next week's going to go in this singles match. Gunther and Imperium are going to go in there and break it up. There's your triple threat.
To set it up. It's going to be a way it's going to set up a triple threat at Mania. Another thing, I disagree with you when you say about Cody Rhodes. His story, it do make sense of why he get involved in bloodline business, because if I'm Cody and I've been hurt for this long time too, I'm pretty sure I'm at home watching the product, so I see how you operate. I'm getting a head start. I see when you in trouble, they come down to help. I'm getting a head start on this stuff now. Plus, I'm making allies in the process, because if my Mania match happens and they do get involved, hopefully what I've done and with Sammy's stuff, hopefully he comes to my aid and stuff. So that's what I think Cody's doing.
You got to have allies.
He's playing the long ball game because he's outnumbered in this game and stuff.
I mean, but to me, I would think the bigger, if Roman is set to lose and go away, because there have been conflicting reports where they're trying to get a solo match. So if Roman is truly going away, I think the better picture of him losing would be the bloodline turning on him, because you've already made all of the pieces going back to the Hell in a Cell match with the main event.
Jay's promo.
To Jimmy talking to Jimmy having to fall in line to save his brother. There are storyline reasons to why the bloodline would turn on him at Mania.
You know what would be a great one if it came to the match and Cody needed help, because let's say the bloodline get involved and it looks like, all right, here we go again, ref bump, they get involved, beat him up and all that stuff, super kid, splash, put him in the corner, Solo do the butt thing, boom. And then you got Roman about to hit the spear. Once he hit the spear, out of nowhere, RKO. His mentor came and you just gave him a dip, and then he just leave.
I like
little
that.
hand.
I like that. I like that.
Yeah.
But I think the bigger match should be Cody Rhodes and his damn shirt. He couldn't get that motherfucker off of shit.
I mean,
He was in the crowd like he was struggling.
I mean, you see how good Cody looks in them suits.
Yeah, it was
I wouldn't want to take them suits off either. He probably spends tens of thousands of dollars.
He's
on
the
them.
Ric Flair of the new era right now, especially with these suits.
It's just funny. You couldn't get it off for nothing. He was struggling. That should be the Mania match right there. That shirt.
Anything else you want to add, Camille?
Put him in a medium. See if he can get it off.
What size shirt is that? A medium? Get out of here. Y'all remember that? Before I go NXT real quick, do you guys remember that promo where Enzo Amore was cut a promo on the entire cruiserweight division where he flamed everybody? He went around. He called Pac at the time being known as Neville Garden Cedric Alexander. What size shirt is that? A medium? Enzo was a whole different breed on the mic.
He was like one of the best talkers at that time.
Anything else you two want to add on SmackDown before we go to NXT and close it up?
Nah.
No.
I'm only gonna need 2 minutes. NXT, Braun Breaker, Carmelo Hayes. It's gonna be a fantastic match. But that's not what I want to spend my 2 minutes talking about. If you guys will just indulge me, HBK and Grayson Waller had a fantastic segment on NXT.
I do want to say something about that.
My goodness. And I think HBK, more so than Grayson Waller, HBK was the star of this. Grayson Waller asking for a match. He said they've been lining up the Brinks trucks for dream matches for decades. They done backed up to my house so much that the drivers know my address. And I said, God damn. But then he went on to say, you won't be going against me. But the person you will be going against, they bleed NXT. And I went back to Johnny Gargano. Not specifically Gargano, his last time in NXT. When we were under the assumption he was going to AEW. Because he did not renew his WWE contract. And Grayson Waller put him through a table. He put him through the table in NXT. So when HBK said that, and Salamander, the shitty version of Rebel Hearts hit, and you just saw Gargano, I screamed just as loud as those geeks in the Performance Center when I saw Gargano, and I said, yes, that is it. Gargano needs his come up. No. There's a receipt for that table spot.
No.
There's a receipt for that table spot.
I strongly disagree with that. Because it's like, I was hoping for Dragon Lee.
Me too.
They signed him. I was hoping for it to be that match. But it do make sense because it's last time in NXT that happened. But then again, it's like, you ain't working over there on the main roster, buddy. So now you got to go back to NXT to try to get love.
Oh, but wait a minute. I remember when I told you that Johnny Gargano wasn't getting it. He's like, nah, bro.
It was the first few weeks. I was like, give him some time. Now I'm like, yeah, this him and that Dexter stuff ain't working. Candice LeRae ain't working. I don't know. They need to do something because I'm like, because why, bro? Like, what? I do like stars going to NXT for like a one-off match or something, but not when you just was there. You just was there. Like, come on. Give it to a new signee or give it to like somebody who ain't been on NXT at all or ain't been there for a while. Like Kevin Owens coming up and being the last competitor into the War Games match. That was perfect because he ain't been in NXT for so long. Dolph Ziggler coming to win the NXT title. That was perfect because he ain't never been in NXT. So seeing somebody like I would have loved it if he was like, you know what, I got a special guest. I got something for you. He's not, it's not me. It's not somebody that you possibly think. But I had to make some calls to. And he told me he probably knowing Shawn Michaels, he would probably say, I made some calls to Hunter. And, you will have a match. It's not against me, but you will have a match. So I advise you to prepare yourself. But don't tell them who it is. And have it somebody that we would never think would ever set foot into NXT.
I would say that story made sense. It would make sense if he hadn't spent the last 2 weeks interrupting NXT programming, taking over the NXT production truck, and even in the segment with him and Shawn, he doesn't really have a problem with Shawn Michaels.
No, I know.
He made that apparently clear. He's got a problem with how the NXT brand is ran.
But I'm Shawn Michaels and I'm running it. So if you don't got a problem with me, but you got the problem with how it's run, you got a problem with me because I'm running it. And the fact that you interrupted my programming, I'm about to get somebody to put you in your place. So I'm gonna get somebody who you least expect.
But why would you get a new? Why would you put? I mean, I understand why you would put a new signing there.
But not really a new signing, but somebody from the main roster. Like they would never step. Like you never believe like, wow, like Dolph Ziggler. We didn't think he was gonna step foot, but somebody that would really take Grayson Waller. Like, wow,
like a Roman Reigns. You would think Roman Reigns.
Yeah. But like let's say like, all right, boom, they do it, and then it's like Bobby or some stuff. Like he come out and he's like, well, here's your opponent. And then we hear Bobby music here or something like somebody like that, like that really take like Grayson was like, oh dang, like what I got myself into. Like it's just like you talking all, so it's like you talking all this stuff about NXT, so it's like you really gotta get you really gotta get a beat down, you gotta get a punishment. But while punishing with, I get it, last time on NXT you put him through a table and then, he bleeds and black and gold, this is his heart. But you on the main roster.
Okay, so
and you just was there like not that long ago. That's like making him fight LA Knight. Like you was just there.
Okay, Miss Queen, did you want to add something?
No.
Okay, so let me ask you this, Camille Salamander. That
would be perfect.
Okay, so let me ask you this, and then I'm gonna hand it off to you so we can close. Would it have been better to you if it was Tommaso Ciampa coming back?
I mean, I can see that, but I think I could see that, but I really think it's just been. Nah, I take that back. Let it be somebody from Black and Gold who was there in the beginning. Yeah, so it's like, you know what? I got somebody for you, and give them a hint. Like, it's not gonna be me. It's gonna be an original, an NXT original. I'm not gonna let you know who, but you will find out. And then Grayson Waller come out, then you can hit him with the Seth Rollins music. He come out, or you can hit him with the Kevin Owens since he's an original, or you can hit him with I won't say fan because he's a heel, but you know what I mean, like them originals who was there in the first run and stuff. Roman was there during the first run, but I mean he ain't gonna do it. But them people who was there within that first shit, you probably put Sammy down there and stuff. I mean it worked just like the first like few years of the NXT, like them people and stuff. With Becky Lynch and the 4 Horsewomen was down there and everything. Like
you need somebody who's going to make a point.
Yeah.
What about since Karrion Kross is not going to have nothing to do? What about nope?
Karrion Kross. That's one thing I wanted to say about Friday. Karrion Kross looked like a fucking football coach out there trying to wrestle with that hair. He didn't cut it.
But that's what I was saying.
It's not going to work.
That's what I was saying.
Like
I return
back to the original.
That could have been. Yes, that could be a refresher, and he go on the main roster like that. I would say yes if you're going to do it. But if you're going to bring him on there like he is now, no.
I was going to say if you want to do like Karrion Kross, he of course he lost. You cut his hair. You keep him on TV. Cut his hair. Add Stand and Deliver. Like you said, you don't tell Grayson Waller. Stand and Deliver. We won't know who the fuck it is until we see the screen go gray. And once we see the screen go gray, we're like, oh, okay, it's Karrion Kross. Okay, cool. But then we see return of Karrion Kross, bald, looking like a killer. I say he destroys Grayson in about 5 minutes.
I say, if you ever turn him back like that,
you got to keep him on NXT though.
No, I don't think so.
No, I think you can bring him back.
I will have him go.
I would say I would switch shows with him. I wouldn't bring him back to SmackDown.
He need to be on Raw.
Yeah, I'll bring him to SmackDown.
But the way he's been, how he's kind of been on the loser streak, I would keep that up and have him go through like a depressed state, which will result into him cutting his hair. And when he cuts his hair, it's like a different ego type. Like when he cut his hair, it's like something just click. So once when he cut his hair, it was like, it's like now, like, ooh, this is like, we just seen like he could do something like him just talking to himself, and then he cut his hair, and then it just so happened, he been bald this whole time and stuff too. But just so happened he ain't never seen his reflection, but just so happened he just caught the mirror, and then that just triggered something that he back to Killer Cross because he see the way he looked and he like, you know what, that's who's been missing. Something I don't know. I just think this hair stuff ain't working. I seen the interview. You know, he's growing it out just because he can, and he don't have no. He basically say he will cut it if he feel like he needs to. But as of right now, he having fun with it. I get it, but it's like I don't know. We ain't taking you serious, bro. That's what it is.
He looks like a detective that's been on the force for like 20 years.
But I'm telling you, you look like a football coach, the assistant at that.
Miss Quinn, anything else you want to add?
No.
Anything else you want to add at all?
I just, if I'm HBK and I'm going to make a point, it's got to be somebody big that I'm going to make a point with, and that is going to demolish Grayson Waller. That's just how it's going to have to be.
Yeah.
Yes. Camellia Salamander, go ahead and take us on.
Man. Guys, go ahead and just stop by our community tab and let us know the topics that you want us to talk about. We will answer them all. That's pretty much it. Go ahead and leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, comment below what you think about this week's WrestleRamble. Let us know what your opinions on, Raw, Smackdown, NXT, AEW. Let us know. We'll be very highly intrigued to see you guys' opinion. That's pretty much it. Once again, I'm Camellia Salamander. It's KB the Mark. Special guest, Miss Quinn. Simply, we some fucking marks that love sports entertainment.
I started with nothing and came out a king. I've been the one that's been ballin' for rings. It's been me and my team and we chasing the green. My team be the shit, we ain't ballin' for free. My team be the shit, we ain't ballin' for free.